What happens when family turns on family? When the Bloodline, the most dominant force in WWE history, crumbles under betrayal, power, and a shocking return that nobody saw coming? Picture this: Solo Sikoa standing over his own brother's broken body, thinking he's finally cemented his reign as the new tribal chief. The crowd is stunned. Jimmy Uso is down. The MFDs are celebrating. But then, pause for effect, a ghost from the past comes roaring back with vengeance in his eyes, and everything Solo thought he controlled starts falling apart. But here's the kicker, and this is something that's going to blow your mind: the original tribal chief, Roman Reigns, has been watching from the shadows. And the warning he just delivered? It's not just a threat. It's a promise that's about to reshape the entire WWE landscape. Tonight, we're diving deep into the chaos that unfolded at Saturday night's main event, the secrets behind Solo's crumbling empire, and the explosive return that has the entire WWE Universe buzzing. I'm going to show you exactly how this family war is tearing apart the most powerful dynasty in sports entertainment, and why what happened next might be the beginning of the end for Solo Sikoa's reign of terror. Let me take you back to where it all began, because understanding the Bloodline's journey is crucial to grasping just how devastating Solo's betrayal really is. For over 3 years, the Bloodline wasn't just a faction, they were WWE royalty. Roman Reigns, the undisputed WWE Universal Champion, didn't just hold titles, he held the entire company in the palm of his hand for over 1,300 days. Think about that for a moment. While other champions came and went, Roman's reign was so dominant that it redefined what it meant to be the guy in WWE. But here's what made the Bloodline truly special: it wasn't just about Roman. The Usos, Jimmy and Jay, brought legitimacy as one of the greatest tag teams in WWE history. These weren't just Roman's cousins riding his coattails, they were 15-year veterans who had earned their stripes long before the Bloodline existed. And Solo Sikoa? He was the enforcer, the quiet storm who could end careers with a single Samoan spike. They moved as one unit. When Roman spoke, they listened. When the Usos needed backup, Solo was there. When Solo needed guidance, the wise man Paul Heyman provided it. This wasn't just a wrestling stable, this was a family business operating at the highest level of sports entertainment. But power, as they say, corrupts. And absolute power? Well, that corrupts absolutely. The cracks started showing in 2024 when Solo began questioning Roman's decisions. At first, it seemed like natural character development, the younger brother finding his voice. But looking back now, we can see it was something much more sinister. Solo wasn't just growing confident, he was growing hungry. Hungry for recognition, hungry for respect, and most dangerously, hungry for power. The breaking point came when Roman lost the Tribal Chief title to Solo at the Raw's Netflix premiere in January 2025. But here's what most people missed: this wasn't just a title change. This was a hostile takeover. Solo didn't just beat Roman, he systematically dismantled everything Roman had built. First, he kicked out Jimmy Uso, the heart and soul of the group. Then came the ultimate betrayal, exiling Paul Heyman, the man who had been the architect of Roman's historic reign. Solo wasn't content with being part of the Bloodline, he wanted to be the Bloodline. But every empire built on betrayal has a fundamental weakness: it's built on sand, not stone. Solo thought he could replace family loyalty with fear and intimidation. He brought in outsiders like Tanga Loa, Tama Tonga, and Jacob Fatu, creating what he called his family tree, the MFDs. But here's the thing about manufactured loyalty: it only lasts as long as the benefits keep flowing. What Solo failed to understand is that the original Bloodline strength came from genuine family bonds forged over decades, not months. And that oversight? It's about to cost him everything. Now, let me tell you about Jacob Fatu, because his story is absolutely crucial to understanding how Solo's empire is crumbling from within. Jacob Fatu isn't just another wrestler Solo picked up along the way. This man is a legitimate monster. They call him the Samoan Werewolf for a reason. Before WWE, Fatu was tearing through the independent scene and MLW like a force of nature. When he joined Solo's MFDs, it wasn't just an addition, it was a game changer that shifted the entire power dynamic in WWE. At WrestleMania 41, Fatu proved he wasn't just Solo's muscle by capturing the United States Championship. Think about the significance of that moment. Here was a guy who many fans had never heard of 6 months earlier, now holding one of WWE's most prestigious titles. The Samoan Werewolf had arrived, and he was making it clear that he was nobody's lackey. But here's where Solo made his fatal mistake, and this is something that reveals everything about his character. Instead of celebrating Fatu's success, instead of recognizing that having a dominant champion in his group only strengthened his position, Solo felt threatened. His ego couldn't handle the fact that someone in his group was getting recognition that didn't flow directly through him. The disrespect started subtly. Solo would make comments about Fatu being all gas, no brains. He'd undermine Fatu's decisions in matches. But the real slap in the face came when Solo brought in Tama Tonga specifically to keep an eye on Fatu. Imagine being the United States champion and having your supposed leader treat you like you can't be trusted. This tension exploded at Night of Champions on June 28, 2025, in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Solo didn't just challenge Fatu for the United States Championship, he orchestrated a complete betrayal. With help from Tama Tonga, a returning Tangaloa, and the debuting Tama Tonga, Solo didn't just beat Fatu, he humiliated him. But here's what made it even worse, the post-match beatdown. They powerbombed Fatu through the announce table, leaving him broken and seemingly finished. Solo stood over Fatu's body with that smug smile, thinking he had eliminated a threat. But what he actually did was create his worst nightmare. You see, Jacob Fatu isn't the type of man who stays down. The Samoan Werewolf doesn't just get mad, he gets even. And when he returned at Saturday night's main event, it wasn't just a comeback, it was a declaration of war. The way Fatu dismantled the MFD single-handedly, hitting that picture-perfect moonsault, clearing the ring like a one-man army, that wasn't just impressive athletically. It was a statement that Solo's numbers game, his manufactured loyalty, his entire power structure was built on a foundation of fear that could crumble the moment someone stood up to it. And now, with Fatu aligned with Jimmy Uso, Solo faces something he never expected, a united front of people he betrayed, people who know his weaknesses, people who are hungry for revenge. The hunter has become the hunted. Let's talk about Jimmy Uso's championship quest, because this story represents something much deeper than just another title match. It's about redemption, legacy, and proving that heart can overcome politics. Jimmy Uso is one half of the greatest tag team in WWE history. For 15 years, he and his twin brother, Jay, have redefined what tag team wrestling can be. They've held multiple championships, headlined WrestleManias, and earned the respect of every wrestler in that locker room. But here's the thing that makes Jimmy's story so compelling. Despite all that success, he had never held a singles championship in WWE. Think about that for a moment. A 15-year veteran, a future Hall of Famer, a man who has been part of some of the most memorable matches in WWE history, and he had never gotten that individual recognition. It's not because he lacked the talent. Anyone who's watched Jimmy work knows he's got everything you need to be a top single star. It's because he was always putting the team first, always elevating others, always being the ultimate team player. But Solo's betrayal changed everything. When Solo kicked Jimmy out of the Bloodline, when he disrespected everything Jimmy had helped build, it lit a fire under Big Jim that we had never seen before. This wasn't just about getting revenge on his younger brother. This was about proving that loyalty and heart matter more than politics and manipulation. The build-up to Saturday night's main event was electric because everyone could feel that this was Jimmy's moment. The WWE Universe was behind him like never before. chanting "Yeet" every time he appeared. There was something poetic about the idea of Jimmy finally getting his singles championship by defeating the brother who had betrayed him. And let me tell you, Jimmy brought everything he had to that match. The crossbody, the suplex on the apron, that picture-perfect corkscrew dive onto the entire MFD faction, Jimmy was wrestling like a man possessed. For those 15 to 20 minutes, it felt like we were watching the birth of a new single star. The Atlanta crowd was on their feet, believing that Big Jim could pull off the upset of the year. But here's what made the finish so heartbreaking. Jimmy didn't lose because he wasn't good enough. He didn't lose because Solo was better. He lost because Solo had abandoned every principle that the Bloodline was supposed to represent. The interference from Tanga Loa, using his boot to hold Jimmy down during that roll-up, it was the perfect metaphor for how Solo operates now. He can't win clean, so he cheats. He can't inspire loyalty, so he demands it through fear. The most devastating part wasn't even the loss itself, it was what happened afterward. Solo's post-match attack, orchestrated with the MFDs, wasn't just about sending a message. It was about humiliating Jimmy, about breaking his spirit, about proving that in Solo's world, family means nothing. But Solo made a crucial miscalculation. He thought that beating down Jimmy would demoralize the opposition. Instead, it created a martyr, a symbol of everything Solo had destroyed, and a rallying point for everyone who wanted to see the false tribal chief fall. What happened next at Saturday night's main event will go down as one of the most shocking moments in recent WWE history, and I'm going to break down exactly why it changes everything. Picture the scene. Solo Sikoa is standing tall over Jimmy Uso's broken body, the MFD surrounding him like vultures, the Atlanta crowd booing with a fury that could shake the building. Solo has that smug smile on his face, the look of a man who thinks he's finally proven he's the undisputed head of the Anoa'i family. The United States Championship is draped over his shoulder, and for a moment, it seems like his vision of dominance is complete. Then the arena exploded. Jacob Fatu's music hit, and I'm telling you, the reaction was seismic. This wasn't just a surprise return, this was a resurrection. Remember, the last time we saw Fatu, he was being powerbombed through the announce table by Solo's goons. Everyone thought he was done, finished, written off television. But the Samoan werewolf doesn't stay down, and his return was nothing short of spectacular. What made this moment so powerful wasn't just the surprise factor, it was the way Fatu moved through that ring like a man possessed. He didn't just clear out the MFDs, he dominated them. The send-in on Solo, the devastating moves on Tama Tonga and Tanga Loa, that picture-perfect moonsault that had the crowd chanting his name, this was a statement that Solo's numbers game meant nothing when faced with pure, unbridled fury. But the real bombshell came hours later, and this is where things get truly interesting. Roman Reigns, the original tribal chief, broke his silence with a message that sent chills through the entire WWE Universe. Since losing the Tribal Chief title to Solo in January 2025, Roman has been a ghost. No appearances, no statements, no acknowledgement of Solo's reign. But Solo's actions at Saturday night's main event, the brutal attack on Jimmy, the complete disrespect for family, crossed a line that Roman couldn't ignore. Solo, do you think you're the Tribal Chief? You think you can disrespect our family, attack your own brother, and run my bloodline? You're playing a dangerous game, little brother. You keep calling me out, mentioning the OTC. Well, guess what? I'm watching, and when I come back, you're going to acknowledge me, or I'll make you. Let me tell you why this message is so significant. This isn't just Roman being upset about losing his position. This is about the fundamental principles that the Bloodline was built on. Roman's reign, for all its dominance and occasional ruthlessness, was always about family first. Even during his most heel moments, Roman protected his cousins, elevated his family, and maintained the bonds that made them strong. Solo has done the opposite. He's brought in outsiders, attacked family members, and prioritized his own ego over everything else. Roman's warning isn't just a threat, it's a promise that the reckoning is coming, and when it arrives, Solo's manufactured empire won't be able to withstand the storm. The OTC is watching, and Solo's time is running out. The Bloodline saga has reached a boiling point that's going to reshape the entire WWE landscape. Solo Sikoa thought he could rewrite the Anoa'i legacy through fear and betrayal, but Jimmy Uso's heart, Jacob Fatu's fire, and Roman Reigns' looming presence prove that some bonds can't be broken by politics and manipulation. We're heading towards SummerSlam 2025 with more questions than answers, and that's exactly what makes this story so compelling. Will Roman return to reclaim his throne? Can the alliance between Jimmy and Fatu bring down Solo's empire? And what happens when the original tribal chief finally steps out of the shadows? Here's what I want you to do. Drop your predictions in the comments below. Will we see Roman Reigns at SummerSlam? Can Jimmy Uso finally capture that elusive singles championship? And is Jacob Fatu the future face of WWE? If you're as hyped about this Bloodline Civil War as I am, smash that like button right now. Subscribe for more deep dives into WWE's biggest stories, and ring that notification bell so you never miss an update. Trust me, with the way this story is developing, you don't want to miss what happens next. The tribal chief's shadow still looms large, and the war for the soul of the Bloodline is just getting started. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.